So it's not necessarily about new technology. It's about making sure that we're leveraging all of the existing technologies that we have in a way that is intuitive and it's simple to use. In terms of net new technology, some of the things that we are looking at is an app around wayfinding when we have large environments where we have a huge number of individuals. And as we're trying to create movement within the space, it's important to be able to understand where your colleagues are and whether there's space to land at in some of those spaces. And so that's where we would think about new technologies.
The other thing I'd add on that is most people don't know how to use the technology that we have available today. And that's not their fault, that's our fault. And so part of our workplace transformation initiative is really about educating the teams around the technology. How do you actually use Skype? How do you actually use other tools to make your teams more productive? And so that's another part of our program. Right. The reason why we put people first is that we're actually in a people business. Many organizations for, I would say, probably the last 5 years have really made a concentrated effort on the customer experience. So if you bring that and juxtapose the customer experience on employees, it really is about curating an experience that makes their life in the company that much more easy and more productive. And so we're looking for that experience that makes them happy to come to work every day, and creating an environment that has psychological safety, not just cool furniture. Well, what do you mean by, so, I love the question around Agile, right? Because I'm also responsible for scaling our Agile efforts in the company, which is really about changing the way people work. So when you say an Agile space, people that work differently require a different setup. And so an Agile team is writing on walls, they've got Post-its, they do stand-ups, so they don't work in offices or in a traditional work environment. I'll let Mo answer the rest on the Agile. How do we actually build flexibility, I think, in the workplace?
And I think in terms of flexibility, we really have to understand how people work, how they need to come together, and being able to deliver the choice to the employees around the various facets. And so, when you're focused on financials, you may need 2 screens to work on, and you just need a space where you can actually just really hunker down and focus. At the same time, if you've got a colleague that's sort of working on doing a little bit of research and really trying to create ideas, a different setting, a different posture as you're sort of working in that environment. So it really does come down to choice. The last thing we want to do is create an environment that is wide open, where everybody's got headphones and you're basically killing the ability for them to come together and innovate, right? And so when we're thinking about these aspects, we really have to be mindful of the choices that we're making.
One of the things that I think is really important about what we're doing is that one size doesn't fit all. And so we're a very large organization with very different types of functions and different types of roles. And each of these roles requires a very different kit of parts in terms of the experience that we're looking to create for them. And so it isn't a one size fits all. It's not just open concept and no offices, although there are some groups that there are no offices, but there are some traditional groups that require offices. So it's not a one size fits all. I'm glad you asked that question because we really look at it as culture, technology, and modern workday practices, and people are at the center of that. And so how people work, how decisions are made is really how our culture runs in an organization. And so we're very focused on changing the way people work, bringing teams that were independent before in their individual silo and co-locating them strategically together in the workplace so that we can actually optimize the way that they work together and increase the collaboration. And so it really is about creating a fresh new culture and using the workplace as a catalyst for innovation and experimentation.
Absolutely. So we've got all of our headquarter towers coming due for renewal around the same time. So we're looking at a new tower in Milwaukee and consolidating our employees into that one tower. In Chicago, same thing. We've got a number of properties and we're looking to consolidate into one tower in Chicago. In Toronto, we've got our Greater Toronto area has a number of towers, and we're looking to consolidate our space to make use of it in a way that really drives this change of how we work and being the catalyst. With at the center of all of it, we've got an urban campus that we're creating that is going to be again the catalyst for the GTA, but for BMO as a whole. And then we've got work happening in similar vein in New York, the consolidation of a tower. In London, we're looking at the same thing. So there's a lot on the go. It is global in nature, and it's going to be the next 4 or 5 years where we're trying to bring all of this together at once.
25,000 employees impacted, so it's not a small program.
Yeah.
And we're excited because this is about enabling the future. And so I'm always very jazzed when I think about what the future will hold. And this type of work is really about bringing that to life. You know, I think we came because we want to share our story. We're actually speaking on Friday, so talking about our story so we can help others. And we're also here to learn from others.
Yeah, I would share exactly the same thing, is make some connections, learn from others, and really share our story. So I think that's, yeah.